The Chicago Bears may be closer than ever to leaving Chicago. In a move that could reshape the future of one of the NFL's most historic franchises, Indiana lawmakers unanimously approved an amendment to Indiana State Bill 27, clearing a potential path for the Bears to build a new domed stadium in Hammond, Indiana. The vote was decisive, 24 to 0. That kind of political alignment doesn't happen by accident. The amendment would create the Northwest Indiana Stadium Authority, granting it the power to issue bonds, acquire land, and finance construction for a proposed stadium near the Wolf Lake area. If the bill advances and final agreements are reached, the Bears could leave Soldier Field and cross state lines for a new home just 25 minutes away. The significance of this moment is difficult to overstate. The Chicago Bears are not just another NFL team, they are one of the league's founding franchises, deeply embedded in Chicago's identity. Soldier Field, despite its age and renovation debates, remains one of the most recognizable venues in American sports. Yet for years, the Bears have made it clear that their long term vision involves a new stadium, ideally a domed modern venue capable of hosting Super Bowls, Final Fours, concerts, and year round events. That vision has clashed with political and financial realities in Illinois. Now, Indiana is positioning itself as the solution. In a statement obtained by ESPN, the Bears described the bill's passage as the most meaningful step forward in our stadium planning efforts to date. The organization emphasized its commitment to completing necessary due diligence and praised Indiana leadership for establishing a framework that could deliver what they called a world class stadium. Governor Mike Braun reinforced that message publicly. On social media, Braun wrote that Indiana is open for business and highlighted the speed with which state agencies, local government, and lawmakers coordinated efforts. He described the proposed partnership as a win for Hoosiers and emphasized that the framework includes protections for taxpayers. That language matters. Public funding and stadium financing are always controversial. Voters and lawmakers often debate whether taxpayer backed bonds and public private partnerships truly deliver economic return. Indiana's approach, according to officials, is designed to create a framework first, then finalize details once site specific due diligence is complete. The proposed site near Wolf Lake sits along the Illinois Indiana border, close enough to maintain access to the Chicago fan base while technically relocating the team to another state. That proximity is strategic. It allows the Bears to claim continuity with Chicagoland while potentially unlocking new tax structures, financing models, and land development opportunities that Illinois negotiations have not produced. For the Bears, the appeal of a domed stadium goes beyond comfort. A climate controlled facility expands revenue streams dramatically. Super Bowl bids, college football championships, concert tours, large scale conventions, year round events that generate consistent income and regional economic activity. Soldier Field, despite renovations in the early 2000s, lacks the capacity and design flexibility of newer NFL venues. In the modern sports economy, facilities are as important as rosters. But relocation would not be without consequences. Leaving Chicago proper would mark a historic shift. The Bears have played in Chicago since their founding. Even though Hammond is geographically close, crossing state lines carries symbolic weight. It would represent not just a stadium move, but a political statement. The fact that Indiana lawmakers moved unanimously suggests strong state level appetite for the economic and cultural prestige that hosting an NFL team brings. Still, approval of the amendment does not guarantee construction. The framework must move forward legislatively. Detailed financing agreements must be negotiated, environmental and land assessments must be completed, and public scrutiny will intensify as specifics emerge. But for now, momentum is clearly on Indiana's side. For Bears fans, the moment creates mixed emotions. A new stadium promises modern amenities, comfort, and potentially greater competitiveness in attracting marquee events. But it also threatens tradition. Tailgates along the lakefront, skyline views from Soldier Field, the emotional geography of Chicago football. For the organization, the calculation appears practical. Modern stadiums generate revenue that fuels competitive spending. They create long term financial stability. They elevate franchise valuation. The Bears statement made clear that the Wolf Lake site is still subject to due diligence, but the tone signaled seriousness rather than speculation. Indiana has opened the door. Now, the question is whether the Bears will walk through it. If they do, it will mark one of the most significant franchise relocations in NFL history, not because of distance, but because of identity. The Chicago Bears have always been tied to Chicago, and now, for the first time in a meaningful way, that connection faces a legitimate challenge. The next steps will determine whether this is leverage in negotiations with Illinois or the beginning of a new era in Northwest Indiana. One vote down, many decisions to go. But for the first time, the possibility feels real.